Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. I'm Atul, and I'm part of the product marketing team here at Rubrik focused on data security. And today we're going to talk about why data security is the foundation for your security posture. Let's start with the basics. What is security posture? Now, as defined by NIST, an organization's security posture is the security status of its networks, information, and systems based on the information security resources. That includes people, hardware, software, policies, etc. Security posture also takes into consideration the capabilities in place to manage the defense of the organization and to react as the situation changes. Simply put, security posture is an organization's overall state of cybersecurity readiness. It is a measure of how well an organization is prepared to protect its assets from cyber attacks. If we think about it for the sake of simplicity, we can break down security posture into these four main segments. We have the infrastructure security that encompasses the protection of all the organization's physical and virtual infrastructure, including servers, networks, storage devices, and applications. This includes measures such as physical security, access control, and security patching. We have network security that is focused on protecting the organization's network infrastructure from unauthorized access, disruption, modification, or even complete destruction. This includes implementing features or tools such as firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and network segmentation. Now, employee awareness and training is also an important part. It is the process of educating employees about cybersecurity threats and best practices. This will help employees to identify and report suspicious activities if they were to occur. And finally, importantly, data security. It is the protection of organizations' data from unauthorized access, use, modification, again, or destruction. This includes taking measures like backup, data encryption, access control, etc. And this last piece is what's going to be the focus of today's session, data security. Now, you may be wondering why. Because in today's digital age, every single company is a data company, regardless of which vertical you operate in, be it healthcare, logistics, BFSI, manufacturing, CPMG, or any other vertical. Take your pick. Manufacturers need to keep track of their purchase orders. Healthcare organizations need access to their patient data at critical speeds. Organizations in the BFSI space need access to their transactional data to remain operational. If your organization is operational today, it needs data to run. Now, in our research at Rubrik Zero Labs, we found that a typical organization today has over 500,000 files containing sensitive data and almost 25 million sensitive data records. And if you're operating in a regulated industry, the penalties for sensitive data exposure adds up to create hefty fines for the organization. Now, traditionally, cybersecurity has focused on infrastructure security around prevention, detection, and investigation. However, infrastructure security is primarily focused on protecting systems, users, networks, and applications, not securing data, which is every organization's most valuable assets. So much so, you could actually call it your organization's lifeblood. Despite significant investments in infrastructure security, the risk of a breach can only be reduced, not eliminated. Attackers are still penetrating defenses, and just as important as reducing the likelihood of a successful attack is reducing the impact of an attack. Now, how quickly can business as usual be restored if an attack were to happen? So that's exactly what this presentation is about. We are trying to create awareness instead, and we need to think about data first. Because you can replace hardware, you can replace data centers. Either you create a new one or you move to the cloud. You can even replace people and their expertise, but you cannot replace data. If it's gone for good. Your data is uniquely important to you, and it is irreplaceable. And it is ultimately the number one priority of the adversary for that reason. Securing data is the only way to truly secure your business. especially at a time when ransomware is such a pervasive threat that remains financially rewarding for attackers. There's even a new business model, RAS, similar to SaaS, but RAS stands for Ransomware as a Service. From the acronym, you can understand that with this business model, attackers don't need the technical acumen that has been expected of a traditional hacker, but can lease that expertise, so to speak, to carry out the attack and hold your data hostage. So we need to have the mindset of assume breach and must ensure that the data is available, safe, and recoverable in the event of an incident, because data is the target of attackers. We need security at the point of data to keep data safe and recovered faster. Because when it's all said and done, you cannot replace your data. And that's why data security should be the foundation of your security posture. But don't take my word for it. Let's look at some stats too. Again, these are the numbers that we found from Rubrik's research wing called Rubrik Zero Labs. In 2022, we found that 99% of the security leaders were made aware of at least one attack, of which 59% experienced a data breach. 54 experienced BEC, which is short for business email compromise, or some other type of fraudulent transfer, and 40% encountered ransomware. Now, of the folks who did encounter ransomware, 72% did end up paying the ransom. 40% did so due to encryption events, and 39% did it to prevent data leaks. Because if you recall the earlier slide, the leakage of sensitive data, especially in the regulated industry, can lead to hefty fines. Now, the good news is that everyone is doing data security. The bad news is everyone believes what they have implemented is good data security. So how do you go about improving your data security such that you strengthen your security posture? By implementing security measures to protect your organization and its data. Now, there are various security frameworks out there, and almost every one of them can be customized to your organization's needs and requirements. But to ensure you're correctly implementing data security measures, make sure you do your research and adopt a framework that meets your requirements. For today's conversation, I'll be referencing the popular NIST cybersecurity framework. And if I recall correctly, their version 2.0 is in the works and is currently open for public comments for another month or two. So do check out their website and take a look at what's changing soon. Now, getting back to the framework itself, NIST framework is a flexible framework that provides a set of guidelines for organizations to manage cybersecurity risk. It by no means tells you the specific security controls that you need to implement, but instead provides a framework for understanding cybersecurity. For the purpose of this session, I'll be focusing on applying this framework to data security, which is, of course, a subset of the larger cybersecurity itself. Now, as you can see, this framework is organized around 5 functions or stages. We have identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. So in the first stage, the identify stage, you need to assess your cybersecurity risks, assets, and vulnerabilities, such that you gain an understanding of what needs protection and prioritize your efforts accordingly. At the end of this assessment, at the bare minimum, you should be able to answer the following. Are you aware of your variables of risk exposure? Can you identify what type of sensitive data is stored? And do you know how much sensitive data is stored? I mean, if our research is an indicator, you could have roughly 25 million sensitive data records right now. Can you identify where that sensitive data is stored? And can you identify who all have access to that sensitive data and if that access poses risk to you or your organization? What happens if you're facing an attack but are unable to answer these questions? How do you deal with the resulting implications, right? In this next stage, protect stage, involves implementing safeguards and measures to defend against identified threats and vulnerabilities. From a data security perspective, this includes setting up a modern backup and recovery mechanism that you can rely on. A solution that will ensure your backups will not be tampered with and will be available to you when needed. Even better if you can automate your backups, so you can set it and forget about it. Added bonus points if your backup solution can protect your data across on-prem, cloud, SaaS applications, etc. Basically, across all the workloads that your organization uses. In the third stage, the detect stage, organizations establish continuous monitoring capabilities to identify security incidents promptly. This includes anomaly detection, setting up systems that alert you if a threat is found in your data environment, be it a malware or a web shell that a bad actor has planted so that they can maintain persistence in your infrastructure. Ideally, you have tools in place to identify indicators of compromise or IOCs and detect these threats early before bad actors detonate the payload and encrypted data. Or at the very least, you should be able to pinpoint when that threat was introduced into your data stream so you can identify a safe recovery point. If not, the chances of accidentally reintroducing the threat into your production systems are high, and then you're back to square one. The fourth stage, response stage, is all about what do you do once you realize you're under an attack? How do you respond? It includes incident response planning, communication strategies, and coordinated efforts to contain and mitigate the impact of the incident. This is basically multiple teams coming together against the attacker. And finally, we have the recover stage. In this final stage, we focus on the strategies you need to implement to restore operations and services to normalcy after a cyber incident. Organizations develop recovery plans and blueprints they can rely on, test the effectiveness of the plans, implement the learnings, and continuously evolve the plan to strengthen the overall security posture. Ideally, you have the tools and processes in place that makes this recovery process as painless and quick as possible. You want to have the confidence that the data you recover will help you bring back your operations online without the risk of reinfection. By following these 5 stages or functions of NIST framework, you can enhance your organization's cyber resilience and better protected critical data. And unsurprisingly, with Rubrik Security Cloud, you can defend data against cyber threats, continuously monitor data for risks, and recover business operations within hours. As you can see, all the products within the Rubrik Security Cloud platform map towards one or the other stage of the NIST cybersecurity framework. So you may be wondering, why Rubrik? Because with Rubrik Security Cloud, you can secure data wherever it lives across enterprise, cloud, and SaaS, making your business truly unstoppable. Data resilience protects your data with air-gapped, immutable, access control backups so you can secure both from insider threats as well as external bad actors. Data observability sets out to search for ransomware and other anomalies, identify classified data exposure, and potential compromise. Data remediation includes threat containment, where we are actually able to quarantine infected data, effectively isolating the entire snapshot or the individual files to prevent accidental reintroduction of the malware during a recovery exercise, thus helping you recover with the confidence your business operations will be back to business as usual quickly. With Rubrik Security Cloud, you get the comprehensive protection to build your resiliency in a single platform. Because at the end of the day, this is the million-dollar question, right? If attackers get past your defenses and carry out an attack, can you afford to wait? How much data loss can you tolerate? We believe our customer testimonials are a true benchmark of what we can deliver. And that's why we have here a quote from Aaron Pritchard, an IT systems analyst at Lang's Building Supplies, who was able to fend off a ransomware attack with hardly any interruption to the business because they had Rubrik's data security solution in place. I mean, think about it. They were asked for $15 million in ransom. They had zero data loss, and they were able to fully recover all the data, be back up and running within 24 hours. That's everything I have for you today. Hope this session was useful. If you would like to learn more about Rubrik and our product offerings, please visit rubrik.com. If you would like to learn more about data security and hear from industry experts and luminaries like Mark McLaughlin, former chairman and CEO of Palo Alto Networks, Marine Ellison, former CISO of Johnson & Johnson, Kate Quinn, Chief Trust Officer at Aon, and more, do join us at Rubrik's Data Security Summit. There's also a fireside chat between Rubrik's CEO Bipul Sinha and Zscaler CEO Jay Chaudhary, where they discuss the future of data security. And of course, we are also having Alex Honnold join these discussions. He's the only person to ever free solo El Capitan in Yosemite. It's a free virtual event that will be telecast tomorrow morning on September 13th at Rubrik.com. If you Google Rubrik Data Security Summit, it'll take you straight to the registration page. It'll show you the agenda, the speaker list, and so much more. If you're curious about the state of data security and want to read more of our research, do check out our Hard Truths report at rubrik.com/zero labs. Once again, thank you for joining me today. Take care.